For some time, we've been treated to an outpouring of what can only be described as anti-Easter literature, specifically a cult favorite tactic used by the cults. But even the pagan world and Christians are telling us how the holiday, in this case Easter, is pagan in origin and bad, and should not be celebrated by Christians. These opinions are backed up with some very rather unusual and curious fantasies masquerading as historical facts. The following videos are intended only to re-examine popular historical claims of the origins of Easter, to provide further discussions concerning some of the so-called facts offered in some anti-Easter publications.
Now, back to Tammuz. Tammuz gets killed by a wild boar. So every year, in commemoration of celebrating the death and the deification of Tammuz, which became the son of God, the son of his father, they would set aside 40 days prior to Easter, and they would fast and they would pray, and they would have a giant feast on Easter Sunday where they would celebrate the death and the resurrection of Tammuz. And guess what they would have for dinner on that Sunday evening? You got it, Easter ham. They would kill a boar in commemoration to Tammuz, who was killed by a wild boar.
Under Jewish dietary laws, called kashrut, eating pork in any form is strictly forbidden. Jesus Christ was Jewish. So why, on the anniversary of his resurrection, do people traditionally serve ham? You will often read it is because ham is supposedly a Christian meat, able to be consumed by Christians but not certain other prominent religious groups. Or a more pagan reason. However, the real reason is simply because it is in season. While modern food storage techniques and supermarkets with efficient and worldwide supply chains shield us from this fact somewhat, like fruits and vegetables, different meats also have seasons, and these depend on a variety of factors including what the animals were eating and when, where they were in their growth cycle, and the availability or lack of refrigeration. With pigs and cows, before refrigeration, it simply made sense to slaughter them in the fall. Since it takes a fair amount of time to butcher a beast as large as a hog or steer, the cold temperatures helped keep the meat from going bad before it could be properly prepared. Another consideration was taste. Shortly before slaughter in the fall, hogs would be fed things like apples and acorns that would greatly improve the flavor of the meat they would ultimately provide. As one specialty pork producer noted, the tradition of acorn-fed pork goes back millennia. The oak nut was a diet staple, because the pigs roamed and rooted about for acorns in the forests of Italy and Spain. An acorn diet is today best known as what makes the prized and pricey jamón ibérico of Spain so succulent. Butchered in the fall, most hams were prepared and allowed to properly cure over the winter to further develop their flavor. This was a particularly important food source this time of year in some parts of the world, where the rest of the stored meat would have already been eaten, with little other meat of any real quality available. This was the case in North America, where the other traditional spring meat, lamb, was and still is less in vogue, which is also why eating ham on Easter in North America is much more popular than other regions where Easter is celebrated.